Welcome back to another episode of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Austin Long, here with our forecaster, Daniel Weaver. And Daniel, it's been a pretty good week so far. How's our weekend looking?
Yeah, well, how about I extend that good week into the weekend? We actually might get a little warmer this weekend, seeing high temperatures maybe hitting 70 for Saturday, but then the rain comes back on Sunday, and with the rain, the temperatures come back down to the mid-60s, back to what it should be seasonal levels for this time of year.
We'll take what we can get, I guess. We'll hear from Daniel in a little bit, but first, let's head to your Nature in the News.
Back on Monday, October 7th, SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 rocket and a mission for the European Space Agency that was designated the name Hera. The payload consists of 3 satellites, 2 CubeSats and 1 other satellite filled with many more instruments. The purpose of this mission is to investigate the impact to the Didymos asteroid system. If you remember back to 2022, NASA successfully collided an asteroid with a rocket to change the orbit of the asteroid as a show of planetary defense. That mission was successful and accomplished its goal of changing the direction of the Didymos asteroid. Hera's mission is to investigate the asteroid after the impact and assess the damage. With the results, space agencies around the world will be able to prepare for the scenario of having to deflect an asteroid headed straight towards Earth.
A new study is investigating the limits of machine intelligence, testing whether machines can have common sense or not. Since their public release less than 2 years ago, large language models, or LLMs, such as those that underlie ChatGPT, a popular AI software, have unleashed exciting and provocative progress in machine intelligence. However, LLMs often struggle with tasks that require common sense. Humans know from experience that glass objects are fragile or that it might be impolite to serve meat when a vegan friend visits, but researchers are working to develop better tests to assess machine common sense and see if they can pick up on what's right or not. Although a language model might generate a correct answer, a logic-based response would require a step-by-step reasoning process to explain why this happens. Humans might not necessarily spot the optimal solution or correct answer, but common sense allows us to reach a reasonable conclusion. Researchers have warned about the dangers of relatively loose testing standards in machine learning for more than a decade and continue to warn about the potential power that AI could gain in becoming too sentient.
If you were lucky back on Monday night, you might have seen a dazzling light show in the sky. That is what we call the Aurora Borealis, or simply put, the Northern Lights. It's like a cosmic fireworks display caused by energy particles from the sun colliding with our planet's magnetic field. An X-class solar flare, the highest class designated for solar flares, erupted from the sun back on Wednesday. A coronal mass ejection followed shortly behind, headed straight towards Earth. An easy way to think about this is to imagine the sun as a balloon. The solar flare is like popping a tiny bubble on the balloon. It's a bright flash of light, but nothing heads towards Earth. A CME, on the other hand, is like the air rushing out of the balloon, only in this case, instead of air, charged particles are headed straight towards Earth. Thanks to the Earth's magnetic field, the charged particles remain a few thousand of miles above the sky, leaving us with a beautiful light show in the night sky.
A new, potentially paradigm-shifting therapy that uses engineered donor cells to treat autoimmune diseases was just tested. The therapy has shown success in treating 3 people with different autoimmune diseases, including systematic sclerosis, lupus, and multiple sclerosis. The therapy works by creating CAR T cells, which are immune cells engineered from a donor. These CAR T cells are then infused into the patient's body where they target and destroy B cells that are involved in the autoimmune disease. The engineered CAR T cells target a specific protein on the surface of B cells called CD19. Once attached, the main goal of the CAR T cell becomes to destroy the cell creating the autoimmune disease. The therapy appears to be safe and well tolerated by patients. Researchers are optimistic about the potential for this therapy to become mass-produced and to treat a wide variety of autoimmune diseases. If further trials show that the therapy to be safe and effective, it could be a major breakthrough in the treatment of autoimmune diseases.
It's time for your weekend forecast, and I hope you're ready for a nice weekend. Well, a nice first half of the weekend. You might see some rain come back on Sunday, but I'll get back to that in just a minute. To start things off, though, on your Friday, as you're ready to start your nice weekend, we got some high pressure and control over West Virginia. We'll keep the clouds away. We'll keep skies mostly sunny, although we do have a storm system all the way up north in Canada. So the further west you go, the higher the cloud amount will be. Clouds will increase the further west you go and the further north you go. But the further south and east you go, the less the clouds become. So here in State College, we'll stay mostly sunny and temperatures a little bit warm, but about average with a high of 65. For your Saturday, we have this cold front draped across the region that'll be slowly sort of sagging south, but won't really be moving much. We'll keep the skies partly cloudy. No rain is with this front, though. This front is pretty starved of moisture. If you want to see any rain, you got to go up in New England. But down here, will be quite warm, too, with temperatures maybe topping 70 here in State College for your Saturday, which would actually put us about 5 to 6 degrees above average, given that our high temperature for Saturday is about 64 degrees. So we'll definitely be above average in the temperature department on Saturday. And then for your Sunday, the temperature department, or the high temperature department, goes out and the rain department comes back in. We'll see scattered showers on Sunday. Thanks to this warm front lifting north across the region, temperatures will drop back down into the mid-60s, so about average for this time of year. Speaking of average, mid-60s, 66 for your high on Friday with sunny skies, which is actually around average, maybe a degree or two above average, but still pretty seasonable for your Friday. For your Friday night, we'll increase the clouds a little bit as that cold front starts to move its way in from the north with a low of 47 degrees. And then for your Saturday, we'll see the clouds increase with partly cloudy skies. We'll up those temperatures up a little bit with a high of 69 degrees. But maybe we'll see a hit of 70 if we can get that sunshine to last just a little bit longer. If the clouds hang a little longer than the sun, though, then we might see those temperatures actually slightly cooler than the 69. And then for your Saturday night, the clouds increase even more as that storm system approaches in from the west with a low of 44 degrees. Maybe a rain shower very, very late in the night, but the rain comes on Sunday with a high of 64 degrees, so temperatures are back to average after an above-average day on Saturday with scattered showers. And up next is a feature by Matthew Howard on the Northern Lights.
Imagine a night where the sky gleams so beautifully in the dark, casting an enchanting glow. If you looked at the sky close enough earlier this year, you may have actually seen this spectacular phenomena, which is known as the Aurora Borealis. This occurred as a result of strong geomagnetic storms. These storms aren't the type you typically expect here on Earth's surface that bring extreme weather. Instead, these storms that come from the sun help bring an extraordinary light show to our planet.
Aurora is excitation of the atmosphere by electrons and protons coming in from space. When they come in, they collide with the atoms and molecules in the upper atmosphere, and it excites the valence electrons to higher levels. And after a short period of time, those valence electrons decay back down to the ground state and emit light. So what you see in the aurora is just the atmosphere glowing, kind of like what happens in a neon light. The electrons going through the tube of neon light collide with neon, and it glows.
Even though these electrons and protons may create some stunning light shows, not every solar storm will cause an aurora. This is because the sun's activity is challenging to pinpoint. Coronal mass ejections, known as CMEs, are the main cause of solar activity that lead to auroras in Earth's sky. They are large explosions of plasma on the outer layer of the sun. These can travel to Earth anywhere within 15 hours to even several days. Once these CMEs arrive, geomagnetic storms occur, sometimes causing auroras. The speed and size of the CMEs determine how far and for how long we can see these colorful occurrences. Although CMEs are a main factor in seeing the northern lights, it does not affect everyone equally. This is because Earth's magnetic field attracts charged particles closest to the poles. In the continental United States, there is less attraction for charged particles compared to the North and South poles. While the northern lights are sometimes visible here in Pennsylvania, they are more likely to be seen the closer you get to the North Pole. Geomagnetic storms were historical this year, making them viewable from 5 different continents, including here in North America. According to the Space Prediction Center, the strongest geomagnetic storm in 20 years occurred this past May. The northern lights were spotted as far south as Hawaii for the first time in over a century. While this was quite rare, solar activity reached higher levels than modeled. Since we are near the peak of a solar cycle, seeing these phenomena will be more common over the next couple years.
The time you'll most likely see large storms is near solar maximum, and after solar maximum. So definitely you can expect over the next couple of years more storms.
In order to see auroras, skies must be dark and mainly clear. To get the most of your viewing experience, find an area away from enhanced light pollution and look to the north and near the horizon. The closer to the North Pole you are, the better the chances of seeing these dancing lights. During these spectacular shows, the human eye can see the scattering of many different colors, including pink, green, and blue throughout the sky. We see these colors from the human eye because of interactions between excited atomic particles of oxygen and nitrogen. If you're having trouble seeing the color during an aurora, it can be seen through an exposure camera, as it adjusts better to the natural night light than an ordinary camera. And even if you don't have a professional camera, most of today's smartphones have an exposure camera and will do just the trick. You can refer to the Space Weather Prediction Center for the latest details on space weather. If the forecast looks good for auroras, grab your cameras, find a dark spot, and take in that magical display. For Weather or Not, I'm student meteorologist Matthew Howard.
It's time for your extended forecast, and after a half and half week with sunny for the first half and then rainy for the second half, your next week looks to be mostly dry, but we'll get to that in just a minute. For now, though, we gotta recap your weekend forecast. And Friday, to start off your weekend, we'll see highs in the mid-60s with a high of 66 degrees, so about average temperatures with mostly sunny skies, and then your low temperature of 47 degrees with the clouds starting to move in on Friday night ahead of our next system that will bring some rain on Sunday. But before that moves in, though, the clouds will increase for your Saturday, and the temperatures will increase as well, with a high of 69 degrees. Maybe we'll top 70 if we can get that sunshine to last a little bit longer than forecasted. If we don't, then those high temperatures will be slightly below than what is forecasted. Otherwise, though, we'll drop those temperatures down a bit for your Saturday night and for your Sunday as well, with a high of 64. So back to average for your Sunday with scattered showers throughout the day, and then 42 degrees for your overnight low. And speaking of lows, your high temperatures for the week ahead will be pretty low, below average, with highs in the around 50, with some rain possible on Monday and Tuesday, but then those temperatures will climb back up for your Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, back to average in the low 60s for your Friday. But the clouds will decrease as the week progresses, with partly cloudy skies for your Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and some possible frost developing too as the week progresses. And speaking of frost, Austin, that reminds me, are we expecting our first frost soon?
We sure are, Daniel, and that's what our Weather Whiz quiz question is. And we're curious to know, what is the average first freeze in State College? Is it A, October 5th, B, October 8th, C, October 11th, or D, October 13th? And if you said October 13th, you would be correct. So yeah, Daniel, we are very close to that first freeze mark here, and we might get it soon here, it looks like.
Yeah, at least climatologically, we are about close to that time of year. So we'll see if we can get it if next week. If not, it's coming up very soon. It's got to happen one of these days.
Definitely time to move the plants inside and cover them, as we're expecting it very soon.
Yeah, definitely cover up those plants, move them inside. You don't want any plants outside right now, as temperatures will start to dip below the 32-degree mark, especially as they head towards winter.
Thanks for watching another episode of Weather or Not. Tune in next week for a brand new show.